Hi, I'm Brett Peterson, the Business Rogue, and today we're going to talk about one way you can come up with business ideas of your own. But in this video, you'll have a couple of different places you can go to get inspiration for businesses that you can start right now, in your budget, where you live. As always, if you're new here, please hit the like button and the subscribe button, and also the notification bell so you can see these videos when they first come out. It really helps us get higher in the algorithm so more people can benefit from the message we're trying to share. Alright, let's get started. When I first started this channel, one of the things I was doing was sharing a host of new business ideas, right? In theory, it's best to start your entrepreneurial journey with some burning need that you see. In practice, your entrepreneurial journey will often start based on opportunities you see that then you'll have to marry up to a need and/or a customer segment. If I scroll through an auction site and see a piece of industrial equipment for sale for very cheap, let's say $500 instead of $50,000, what customers can I serve? What products or services can I produce using that piece of equipment that make sense when the equipment costs $500, but that don't make sense when it costs 50 grand? I went through and found a 4-color printing press that will sell probably for less than $15,000. Now, $15,000 is a lot of money. Don't get me wrong, that's not chump change. But it's a heck of a lot less than the $500,000 that press probably was when it was new. And so my mind started spinning and saying, okay, what are some underserved needs in those markets? Who's not being served by the current packaging market? Who's not being served by the current book market? Are there certain types of books, or are there certain stitchings of books that used to be very popular that is no longer? Is that a niche? Was that method more appropriate for a certain type of book than for others than what's being currently used? If so, can you make a business at $15,000 of investment? Could you make a business out of doing short print runs on offset printers? Do you have some way of making cheap lithography plates? Can you come up with some way of making cheap offset printing plates? If so, then use your cheap used printer and your new way of making cheap plates, put those together, and bam, suddenly you're doing print on demand much more efficiently than a lot of your competitors. Did I start with a customer? Did I start with a problem? Heck no. I started with a cheap piece of equipment. I saw an opportunity. Many, many times as an entrepreneur, you're going to see opportunities. Now, that's good. That's fine. There's nothing wrong with that. But you have to trace it back to your customers and products and services. So seeing the $500 printing press doesn't help me at all unless I can get to, print on demand at 250 to 500 books for self-publishers who are just about to make it, or just starting to get big, but don't want to use a print-on-demand service like Amazon or Ingram Spark because they're too expensive and the quality is too low. So if that was my customer segment, I would say, you know what, I bet with my offset press, I could print on ivory-colored paper, unlike most print-on-demand companies right now, on actually pleasant paper to read, in a format that feels professional for an indie author. Let me go check with 20 indie authors and see if that's real. Can I get 10 pre-orders? Have I got the right target market? If indie authors tell me, no, that'd be more something I'd talk about for my role-playing game book, but not for my novel, well, okay, pivot to the role-playing game industry. Talk to DriveThruRPG or other sites that do print-on-demand work and say, hey, I can give you a better deal at these quantities. Or you go to the board game market and somebody like Print Ninja. You do outsourced printing for books, but you start at 2,000. I'll cover that 0 to 2,000 run for you because I've come up with this way to make that plausible at a good cost, right? And we can do some kind of profit sharing, or I'll sell it to you at a reasonable price, whatever. There's work to be done after the idea, but see the opportunity. If you're looking for inspiration about what company to start, go see what equipment you can get cheap. In a global economic downturn, is the perfect time to look for used equipment because companies are going under. You don't need all their overhead. You don't need all their employees. You can find the one thing you need to start lean for your specific customer that they didn't think of. Make sure that's a real customer. Pick up the equipment cheap, off and running. For every one Facebook out there, there are 10,000 laundromats, car washes, little specialty restaurants or food trucks, little print shops down the side of the road, little 3D printing service centers, or whatever. You can be an entrepreneur or a small business owner using a pretty known process, but serving a new customer segment or a very specific customer segment in a new way. A company I ran into on YouTube last night doing this exact thing is making custom Lego bricks, custom Lego minifigure. Bought a printer and they print little designs on the figures and make their custom bricks. They have had some success and they've been at it for 10 years, so this is not like, that was not a cheap endeavor. But something like that is great. I mean, they're selling Lego figures for $10 a pop and sold out half the time, apparently. Was that a new process or new invention or new technological breakthrough? No. They're using very old processes and equipment. But was it an underserved market? Yeah. Apparently, this person has discovered that there's a market for historically accurate Vietnam War uniformed Lego figurines that they create and sell out of all the time. Sell them faster than they can build them, apparently. Right? You can be a successful small business owner without blazing all new trails. There may be 3 competitors who are not doing the job well enough. There are some markets out there right now that can't keep up with new demand. Some markets have exploded. Pardon the pun, if you know which market I'm talking about. So that's a place for a new supplier to jump in. And even if the wave goes out in 5 years or 2 years, you've maybe made your fortune in the meantime. That doesn't make you a bad entrepreneur. That makes you a good entrepreneur. You saw the opportunity and you went for it and you got it. I mentioned at the beginning, I promised at the beginning this would be within your budget. There is used equipment that you can make a business out of starting at 25 cents online at auction all the way up to $25 million at auction, right? And everything in between. What are you interested in? What do you know about? What are your hobbies? What are your interests? This week's challenge is to go through auction websites like bidspotter.com or ebay.com or goodwillauctions.com or whatever your favorite website is. Pick something out of your hobbies, interests, things you know about. Go find a piece of equipment for cheap in that hobby or interest. Figure out a way you can use that to make money. I think you'll be surprised and delighted by the opportunities that come to your mind. Let me know your idea in the comments. Put it out here. I'll happy to respond and give you tips and pointers and maybe suggest some customer segments you can go to here. And if you're feeling brave, go for it. Go start a business. All right. Good luck starting that business. We'll see you next time. Buy the $5 old school camera and use it to make cool sepia tone prints. Buy the $20 retro computer and use it to simulate old equipment so people can learn how to do COBOL programming again and upgrade mainframes and start a little programming school on original equipment. Toy drone that you throw a Raspberry Pi camera on and you start taking pictures of farmers' fields for them. Whatever.